It's been a day when you have seen a lot of choppiness in most of those asset classes, whether it's the currencies, commodities or the equity markets, and have to touch upon the rupee, which has hit a record lows at around 57.32 on the last count. That has been a record low there. The concerns also, of course, coming in from the monsoons. While the latest report does say that after 3 weeks of a decline in monsoons, you might see a bit of a pickup coming in there, but the concerns, of course, are coming in from many quarters. That's rupee on your screen, 57.22, still 1.5% on the lower side. Let's get in then. Mahesh Vyas, he's Managing Director and CEO of Center of Monitoring Indian Economy, or CMIE, and he joins us live on the show. Mr. Vyas, hi, welcome to the show. Lots of concerns coming in from many quarters, whether it's the domestic markets, the global risk aversion, the Indian rupee, the monsoons. Which one are you looking at?
Well, there are lots of concerns right now, and the latest is the sharp fall in the rupee today, and of course the monsoon that has been weak so far. So there have been many concerns, but these are the new ones, and while we're not worried about the two factors I mentioned so far, but there's some anxiety.
Mr. Vyas, let's elaborate a bit in the Indian rupee, because while exporters are holding on, the imports just get more expensive there. What's your sense? What are you hearing about the Indian rupee? Much more declines coming in from here?
Well, we need to get a little more used to this kind of a volatility coming in. We seem to panic too soon and too much when there's some movement on the rupee. So we kind of seem to like it when the rupee remains absolutely placid and completely predictable within a small range. So there's bound to be some volatility in the rupee, and we should see this as a healthy reaction to changes in the trade account, in the current account, and in the capital account. So right now the depreciation is more favorable towards the exporters. Imports do get a little costlier, so all that's happening fortunately is that the crude oil prices are falling. So some of the beneficial impact of such fall in commodity prices is not reaching us. That's the only thing that we are seeing. The debt servicing burden on Indian companies, some of them who have got large borrowings from overseas, certainly look a little more troublesome, but Indian corporate balance sheets are not that bad. They will be able to absorb a significant portion of this additional burden.
Mr.
I don't
Vyas,
think it's such a worrisome issue. Yes, these are problems.
Just a bit of elaboration on the monsoons as well. Well, the first 3 weeks have been weak, and there are reports coming in from many quarters on that delay in soybean, cotton and rice sowing in some areas. Would you say that it's a bit of a concern, or would you give it a grace period of another couple of weeks and then really take a call?
Yeah, I think we should wait for a couple of weeks more to see how troublesome this is. If you look at the geographical distribution of where the stress is, it's mostly in the eastern parts of India. So Orissa is negative. Parts of Andhra Pradesh, particularly Telangana and Rayalaseema, and eastern Madhya Pradesh are the areas where rainfall has been weak. But the western sector hasn't been bad. The western sector, Maharashtra, large parts of Maharashtra, Gujarat, Karnataka, Kerala, and large parts of Rajasthan have done quite well. So it's not all that negative a story. A large part of the negativeness comes from North India, but rains have yet to reach there entirely. So I think we should wait for a couple of weeks more before we start turning our anxieties into worries.
Mr. Vyas, if you look at the GDP numbers this time around, the slowest in last 9 years is what the estimates have been. How concerned are you onto that, and do you really see a rebound coming in by the time we head into 2012 end?
I think the likelihood of a rebound is quite high. There are many factors which will move in favor of a rebound, particularly in the manufacturing sector. So a large part of the problem last year was to do with the mining sector. We saw a fall in gas production, a fall in iron ore production. There was a problem on crude oil production and coal as well. So all these things did have a problem on the steel and thermal power generation and a few other manufacturing sectors. Some of these problems, I think barring gas, most of the other problems are kind of resolved, and that will lead to a higher mining index and correspondingly a higher manufacturing sector index, which will also have a good impact upon trade and transport. So I think the biggest problem that there was last year, which is a supply side shock which came from the mining sector, is likely to abate this year significantly, and that will be the main reason why we will see a rebound.
Mr. Vyas, also, while we are talking about a rebound in India growth here, would you say that the much of impact would come in the international markets as well? And what's your sense on how much impact could we get going forward?
Well, there will be an impact, and the most significant impact will be on capital flows coming into India. We have kind of got used to high current account deficits, or particularly a high trade deficit. The current account seems to be widening. So we require larger capital flows to be able to bridge this gap. So we are expecting, even in the current conditions, a drawdown on reserves. We do have reserves. There's a good buffer that we'll be able to deal with this, but this does lead to a weakening of the rupee. So that's the only concern I have from the international markets impacting upon us.